My granddaughter mocked my accent in front of her friends. The next morning, I withdrew every penny from her college fund. Before we begin, drop a comment below telling me where in the world you are listening, and make sure to subscribe for more life-changing journeys. I stood in the kitchen, wiping my hands on a dish towel. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow through the window. Emily was in the living room with her friends, laughing loudly. I was glad she had friends over. It was good to see her happy. I continued to clean up, humming an old tune from my childhood. As I reached for the kettle to make tea, I heard Emily's voice rise above the chatter. She was talking about me. My heart swelled with warmth, expecting to hear something sweet. But then, her words hit me like a cold wind. She was mocking my southern accent. Her friends laughed along with her, and my heart sank. I stood frozen in the kitchen. Her words echoed in my mind. It felt like a betrayal. I had raised Emily since she was young. Her parents, my daughter and son-in-law, had passed away when she was just a child. I had tried my best to give her a good life, sacrificing my own dreams and comforts for her. Hearing her mock me cut deep. I took a deep breath and steadied myself. I had always been proud of my southern roots. My accent was part of who I was. I had never felt ashamed of it until now. I thought of all the nights I spent working late to save money for Emily's college fund. I had wanted her to have a future full of opportunities. I needed to think. I walked quietly to my bedroom, shutting the door behind me. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the floor. My mind was a whirlwind of emotions. Anger, hurt, and disappointment swirled around, each one fighting for space in my heart. I had always believed that respect was important. I had taught Emily to be kind and grateful. But now, I questioned if I had failed. How could she mock something so dear to me? Did she really not understand the value of respect and gratitude? I knew I needed to do something. I couldn't let this pass. I had to make sure Emily understood the importance of respect. But how? I thought about it for a long time. Then, an idea struck me. It was drastic, but maybe it was necessary. I decided to withdraw the money from Emily's college fund. It was a bold move, but I felt it was the right one. I wanted to teach her a lesson, to make her understand the consequences of her actions. I hoped that by doing this, she would realize the importance of respect and gratitude. As I sat there, I felt a mix of determination and conflict. I loved Emily dearly. I didn't want to hurt her, but I also wanted her to grow into a kind and respectful person. This decision was not easy, but I felt it was necessary. The next day, I went to the bank. With each step I took, my resolve grew stronger. I withdrew the money, feeling the weight of my decision. I knew it would be a shock to Emily, but I hoped it would be a wake-up call. Back home, I sat in my chair, looking out the window. The sun was setting again, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I thought about the message I wanted to convey to Emily. Respect and gratitude were important values. They were the foundation of strong relationships. I wanted her to understand that. I knew the road ahead would be difficult. Emily would be upset, and there would be arguments. But I was ready to face it. I hoped that in the end, she would understand and grow from this experience. As the evening turned to night, I sat quietly, contemplating the implications of my decision. I thought about my own life and the lessons I had learned over the years. I hoped that Emily would learn from this too. In the quiet of the night, I whispered a silent prayer. I prayed for strength and guidance. I prayed for Emily's understanding and growth. I prayed for our relationship to heal and become stronger. The house was silent now, the laughter from earlier long gone. I felt the weight of my decision, but I also felt a sense of peace. I knew I was doing the right thing. I hoped that one day, Emily would see it too. As I prepared for bed, I thought about the journey ahead. It would not be easy, but I was ready. I wanted the best for Emily, and I hoped that this decision would lead her to become a better person. I turned off the lights and lay in bed, my mind still filled with thoughts. I drifted off to sleep, ready to face whatever challenges the next day would bring. Morning came, and I woke up early. The air was crisp and cool. I went about my morning routine, making breakfast and tidying up the house. Emily was still asleep. I knew she would be awake soon, and I braced myself for the conversation we needed to have. I sat at the kitchen table, sipping my coffee. My mind was clear, and my decision was firm. I was ready to talk to Emily about what I had done and why. I wanted her to understand the importance of respect and gratitude. I wanted her to grow and learn from this experience. The morning sun streamed through the window, filling the kitchen with light. I took a deep breath, ready to face the day and the challenges it would bring. I sat in my favorite chair, looking out the window. The memories of the past flooded my mind. I thought about the day I became Emily's guardian. It was sudden and unexpected. My daughter and son-in-law had died in a car accident. Emily was just 6 years old at the time, so small and scared. I remember the moment I got the call. My heart felt like it stopped. I rushed to the hospital, hoping for a miracle that never came. My daughter, my only child, was gone. It was a pain I could not describe, a hole in my heart that would never fully heal. Emily was in the waiting room with a nurse, clutching a teddy bear. Her eyes were wide and full of tears. I knew I had to be strong for her. I hugged her tightly, whispering that everything would be all right, even though I wasn't sure how it would be. Raising Emily was not easy. I had to put my own dreams aside. I had always wanted to travel and write a book about my Southern heritage. But those dreams were shelved as I focused on Emily. I wanted to give her a stable home and a loving family. My Southern roots were important to me. I grew up in a small town, surrounded by family and friends who spoke with the same accent I did. It was part of my identity, a link to my past. I never imagined it would be something Emily would mock. Over the years, I focused on the here and now. I worked hard to provide for Emily. I took on extra shifts at the diner and saved every penny I could. I wanted to make sure she would have a bright future. I poured my love into raising her, hoping she would grow up to be kind and respectful. When Emily was younger, our relationship was close. We would spend evenings reading together or baking cookies in the kitchen. She would ask me about my childhood, and I would tell her stories about my upbringing in the South. Those were happy times. But as Emily grew older, things began to change. She became more influenced by her friends and less interested in our time together. She was busy with school and social activities. I understood she was growing up, but I missed the closeness we once had. I tried to instill good values in Emily. I taught her about kindness, respect, and gratitude. I believed these were important lessons. But now, I wondered if I had failed. Her mocking words from the other day still stung. I knew I had to teach her a lesson. The decision to withdraw her college fund was not easy, but I hoped it would help her understand the importance of respect. I hoped she would learn to appreciate the sacrifices I had made for her. As I reflected on my life, I thought about the challenges I faced. Raising a child at my age was not easy. There were times when I felt overwhelmed and exhausted. But I never gave up. I loved Emily, and I wanted the best for her. I thought about the values I wanted to pass on to her. Respect and gratitude were at the top of that list. I wanted her to understand that these values were the foundation of strong relationships. I hoped she would carry them with her into adulthood. As I sat there, lost in thought, I knew I had to move forward with my plan. I had to make sure Emily understood the lesson I wanted to teach her. I hoped it would lead to a positive change in her behavior and our relationship. I thought about the times I had been there for Emily. I had attended every school play, every parent-teacher meeting, and every soccer game. I had been her biggest supporter, cheering her on from the sidelines. I hoped she would remember those moments and understand the depth of my love for her. The future was uncertain, but I was determined to help Emily grow into a kind and respectful person. I wanted her to succeed in life and be proud of her heritage. I hoped that by teaching her this lesson, she would learn to appreciate the values I held dear. I knew the road ahead would be challenging. Emily would be upset, and there would be difficult conversations. But I was ready to face it. I believed in Emily's potential, and I hoped she would rise to the occasion. With these thoughts in mind, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I was ready to face the challenges ahead and help Emily grow into the person I knew she could be. I hoped that in the end, this experience would bring us closer together and strengthen our bond. The day passed quietly, and I kept busy with chores around the house. I wanted to keep my mind occupied as I prepared for the conversation I needed to have with Emily. I knew it would be tough, but I was ready. As the sun began to set, I felt a sense of calm. I knew I was doing the right thing. I hoped that Emily would understand and learn from this experience. I wanted her to see the value in respect and gratitude. I sat in my chair, watching the sky change colors. I thought about the future and the lessons I wanted to teach Emily. I hoped that one day, she would look back and be grateful for the values I had instilled in her. I hoped she would carry them with her throughout her life. As night fell, I felt a sense of peace. I knew I had made the right decision. I hoped that the journey ahead would lead to growth and understanding for both Emily and me. I was ready to face whatever challenges came our way. The morning air was crisp as I sat at the kitchen table, waiting for Emily to wake up. I clutched my mug of coffee, feeling the warmth seep into my hands. My mind was restless, filled with thoughts about the conversation we were about to have. I knew it would be difficult, but it was necessary. Emily shuffled into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. She poured herself a glass of juice and sat across from me. I watched her, trying to find the right words to start. The silence stretched between us, heavy and tense. I took a deep breath and began to speak. I told her about the decision I had made to withdraw her college fund. I explained why I felt it was important for her to understand the value of respect and gratitude. Her eyes widened in shock, and I could see the confusion and anger rising within her. Emily's voice trembled as she asked me why I would do such a thing. Her words were sharp, filled with hurt and disbelief. I listened quietly, letting her express her emotions. I knew she needed to let it all out before we could have a meaningful conversation. As she spoke, I could see the tears welling up in her eyes. Her voice grew louder, and her words became more frantic. She accused me of not caring about her future and questioned if I even loved her. Each word felt like a knife, cutting deep into my heart. I waited for her to finish, then spoke softly. I told her that I loved her more than anything in this world. I reminded her of all the sacrifices I had made for her over the years. I explained that my decision was not out of anger, but out of a desire to teach her an important lesson. Emily's anger began to wane, replaced by confusion and pain. She asked me why respect and gratitude were so important to me. I took a deep breath and told her about my life, my upbringing, and the values that had been instilled in me from a young age. I spoke about my southern roots, the pride I felt in my heritage, and how my accent was a part of my identity. I explained that mocking someone's accent or background was disrespectful and hurtful. I wanted her to understand that respect was the foundation of strong relationships. Emily listened, her eyes fixed on the table. I could see the wheels turning in her mind as she processed my words. I hoped that she was beginning to understand the gravity of her actions and the impact they had on our relationship. There was a long silence between us, each of us lost in our own thoughts. Emily's face softened, and I could see the realization starting to dawn on her. She looked up at me, her eyes searching for answers. I reached across the table and took her hand, squeezing it gently. I told her that it was never too late to learn and grow. I encouraged her to reflect on her actions and consider the values she wanted to carry with her into adulthood. Emily nodded slowly, her expression thoughtful. I could see the struggle within her as she tried to reconcile her feelings. I knew it would take time for her to fully understand and accept the lesson I was trying to teach her. As the tension in the room began to ease, I felt a sense of hope. This confrontation had been difficult, but it was a necessary step toward healing and growth. I hoped that Emily would take this opportunity to reflect on her actions and make positive changes. We sat in silence for a while, the weight of the conversation hanging in the air. I knew that this was just the beginning of a long journey. There would be more challenges ahead, but I was ready to face them. I wanted to help Emily grow into a kind and respectful person. As the day went on, I noticed a change in Emily's demeanor. She was quieter, more reflective. I could see her thinking deeply about our conversation and what it meant for our relationship. I hoped that she would take this opportunity to learn and grow. I spent the afternoon in the garden, tending to the flowers and plants. The work was soothing, giving me time to process the morning's events. I thought about the future and the changes I hoped to see in Emily. I wanted her to become a person of integrity, someone who valued respect and gratitude. Later, Emily joined me in the garden. She stood beside me, watching as I worked. I could sense a change in her energy, a willingness to understand and learn. I hoped that this was the beginning of a new chapter for us. As the sun began to set, we went inside for dinner. The atmosphere was different, softer somehow. I could feel the tension easing between us, replaced by a sense of understanding. I hoped that this was a sign of things to come. We ate in relative silence, each lost in our own thoughts. But it was a comfortable silence, one that spoke of the changes happening beneath the surface. I could see the gears turning in Emily's mind, and I was hopeful for the future. After dinner, Emily approached me. She looked me in the eye and said she wanted to understand more about my life and why respect was so important to me. Her words were tentative, but sincere. I felt a rush of relief and gratitude. This was the first step toward healing. I agreed to share my stories with her, hoping it would help her understand my perspective. I wanted her to appreciate the richness of her heritage and the strength of character it took to stay true to one's identity. As we sat together on the couch, I began to tell her about my childhood, my family, and the values that shaped me. Emily listened intently, her eyes wide with curiosity. I could see her beginning to appreciate the depth of my experiences and the lessons I hoped to pass on to her. The night grew late, but we continued to talk, sharing stories and memories. It felt like a new beginning, a chance to rebuild our relationship on a foundation of understanding and respect. I hoped that this was the start of something beautiful, a journey of growth and discovery for both of us. The days passed, and I found myself reflecting on the decision I had made about Emily's college fund. I wondered if I had acted too harshly, letting my emotions get the better of me. I wanted to teach Emily a lesson, but I questioned if there might have been another way. I decided to visit the community center, a place where I often met with friends. It was a small, welcoming space where people gathered to share stories and support one another. I knew I could talk openly there and perhaps gain some insight into my situation. When I arrived, I was greeted by familiar faces. We sat in a circle, sipping tea and chatting about our lives. I took a deep breath and shared my story, explaining the conflict with Emily and my decision to withdraw the college fund. As I spoke, I felt the weight of my worries lift slightly. My friends listened intently, offering words of comfort and encouragement. They understood the pain of raising a child and the challenges that came with it. They assured me that I had acted out of love and a desire to teach Emily important values. One friend, Martha, spoke about her own experiences with her children. She reminded me that growth often came from difficult lessons. Sometimes, it took a moment of crisis to spark real change. Her words resonated with me, and I felt a renewed sense of purpose. As we talked, I remembered a pivotal moment from Emily's childhood. She was about 8 years old, and we had gone on a trip to visit family in the South. It was her first time meeting many of them, and she was shy at first. But as the days went by, she opened up and bonded with her cousins. One evening, we sat around a campfire, sharing stories and laughter. Emily listened wide-eyed as the elders spoke about our family's history and the struggles they had overcome. I could see her absorbing every word, a spark of understanding in her eyes. That trip had been a turning point for both of us. It reminded me of the strength and resilience that ran through our family. I hoped that by reconnecting with her roots, Emily would realize the importance of respect and gratitude. Meanwhile, Emily had been spending more time with her friends. I knew they were a source of support for her, and I hoped they would help her see things from a different perspective. I wanted her to understand the values I held dear and why they mattered. One afternoon, Emily approached me, her expression thoughtful. She said she had been talking to her friends about our conversation and wanted to learn more about her Southern heritage. Her words filled me with hope. This was a step in the right direction. I agreed to share more of our family's history with her. We spent afternoons going through old photo albums, looking at pictures of family gatherings and celebrations. I told her stories about her ancestors, the hardships they faced, and the lessons they had passed down through generations. Emily listened intently, asking questions and showing a genuine interest in our family's past. I could see her beginning to appreciate the richness of her heritage and the strength it took to stay true to one's identity. As we explored our family history, I saw a change in Emily. She seemed more grounded, more connected to her roots. I hoped that this journey of discovery would help her understand the importance of respect and gratitude. One day, as we sat together looking through old photographs, Emily turned to me and apologized. She said she realized how much her words had hurt me and that she was sorry for mocking my accent. Her apology was sincere, and I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I hugged her tightly, grateful for her honesty and willingness to learn. I told her that I was proud of her for taking responsibility for her actions and for wanting to understand our family's heritage. It was a moment of healing, and I felt our bond strengthen. With a renewed sense of connection, Emily and I decided to visit some of the places from my past. We took a trip to my hometown, visiting family members who shared stories of resilience and pride. Emily listened, absorbing their words and gaining a deeper appreciation for her roots. As we traveled, I could see Emily's perspective shifting. She began to understand the importance of staying true to one's identity and valuing the lessons passed down through generations. I hoped that these experiences would help her grow into a kind and respectful person. The journey was not just about discovering our family's history, it was also about rebuilding our relationship. Emily and I spent time together, sharing stories and laughter. I felt a renewed sense of hope for the future. As we returned home, I reflected on the changes I had witnessed in Emily. She was beginning to understand the importance of respect and gratitude, and I felt proud of the young woman she was becoming. I hoped that this journey of discovery would continue to shape her into a person of integrity. In the quiet of the evening, I sat on the porch, watching the stars twinkle in the night sky. I thought about the lessons I wanted to pass on to Emily and the values I hoped she would carry with her into adulthood. I felt a sense of peace, knowing that we were on the right path. The road ahead would still have its challenges, but I was ready to face them. I wanted to help Emily grow and learn, to become a person who valued respect and gratitude. I hoped that our journey of discovery would lead to a future filled with understanding and love. As I sat there, I whispered a silent prayer for guidance and strength. I prayed for Emily's growth and our relationship's healing. I hoped that we would continue to learn from each other and build a strong bond that would endure for generations. The night was calm and still, and I felt a sense of hope for the future. It was a bright morning when Emily approached me with a new sense of purpose. Her eyes were clear, and her expression was sincere as she told me she wanted to know more about our family and her Southern roots. She wanted to understand not just my past but the stories and values that shaped our family. Her desire to learn filled me with hope. I agreed to share more, eager to bridge the gap that had formed between us. We started our journey by visiting my childhood home, a small house on the outskirts of a quiet town. As we walked through the old rooms, I shared stories of my childhood, tales of joy and laughter, of struggles and triumphs. I showed her the tree where I used to play, the porch where we gathered each evening, and the modest kitchen where family meals were prepared with love. Emily listened intently, absorbing every detail. She asked questions, wanting to know more about the people in the faded photographs that lined the walls. I told her about my parents, her great-grandparents, who instilled in me the values of hard work and respect. I spoke of the challenges they faced, the sacrifices they made to provide for our family. Emily's eyes widened as she began to appreciate the depth of her heritage. Next, we visited the local church where I had spent many Sundays. It was a place of community and faith, where people gathered to support one another. As we sat in the pews, I told Emily about the community events we held there, the sense of belonging and unity that filled the air. I hoped she would see the importance of community and the strength it provided. Afterward, we visited family members who still lived in the area. They welcomed us with open arms, eager to share their stories with Emily. As we sat together, they spoke of our family's history, tales of resilience and pride. Emily listened, her eyes shining with newfound understanding. She was beginning to see the strength that ran through our family, the values that had been passed down through generations. During our visit, Emily had the chance to meet her cousins, and I could see her forming connections. They laughed and shared stories, bridging the gap between past and present. I watched with gratitude, knowing that these relationships would help her feel more rooted and connected to her heritage. As we traveled back home, Emily and I talked about the importance of family and the values that bind us together. She expressed her desire to carry these lessons with her, to be a person who valued respect and gratitude. Her words filled me with pride, and I felt a renewed sense of hope for our relationship. In the days that followed, Emily took the initiative to learn more about our family history. She spent hours researching, piecing together the stories and lessons that had been passed down through generations. I watched as she grew more confident, more connected to who she was and where she came from. One evening, as we sat together on the porch, Emily turned to me with a heartfelt apology. She expressed her regret for mocking my accent and failing to appreciate the sacrifices I had made for her. Her words were sincere, and I could see the growth in her eyes. It was a moment of healing, and I felt our bond strengthen. I hugged her tightly, grateful for her honesty and willingness to learn. I told her that I was proud of her for taking responsibility for her actions and for wanting to understand our family's heritage. It was a moment of healing, and I felt our bond strengthen. With a renewed sense of connection, Emily and I began to spend more time together. We shared stories, cooked family recipes, and attended community events. I could see her blossoming into a kind and respectful young woman, someone who valued the lessons of the past. Emily also decided to make amends by learning more about the Southern culture and embracing it. She started listening to the music I loved, learning to cook the dishes I cherished, and even trying to speak with a bit of a Southern twang. It was a gesture that touched my heart and brought us closer together. As we continued to explore our heritage, Emily's perspective shifted. She began to see the importance of staying true to one's identity and valuing the lessons passed down through generations. I hoped that these experiences would help her grow into a kind and respectful person. Our journey of rediscovery was not just about uncovering the past, it was about rebuilding our relationship. Emily and I spent time together, sharing stories and laughter. I felt a renewed sense of hope for the future, knowing that we were on the right path. One afternoon, as we sat in the garden, Emily turned to me with a question about her future. She wanted to know more about her aspirations and how she could align them with the values she had learned. We talked about her dreams, exploring potential career paths and the steps she could take to achieve them. Emily began to take initiative, applying for scholarships and exploring part-time job opportunities. She was determined to fund her education and take responsibility for her future. Her efforts filled me with pride, and I felt a renewed sense of belief in her potential. As we worked together to explore alternative ways to fund her education, I saw Emily's confidence grow. She was becoming a young woman of integrity, someone who valued respect and gratitude. Our relationship was healing, and I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The days turned into weeks, and Emily and I continued to strengthen our bond. We attended community events together, sharing in the joy and camaraderie of our neighbors. Emily introduced me proudly as her grandmother, accent and all. It was a moment of pride, a testament to the growth we had both experienced. Reflecting on our journey, I realized that the challenges we faced had brought us closer together. We had learned from each other, growing and healing through the lessons of the past. Our relationship was stronger, built on a foundation of respect, love, and understanding. As I looked at Emily, I saw the young woman she was becoming, thoughtful, authentic, and proud of her heritage. I knew that she would carry these lessons with her as she navigated her future. I felt at peace, knowing that our journey of discovery had led to a legacy of love and respect that would endure for generations. As the weeks went by, Emily and I settled into a new routine. Our relationship had changed, growing stronger and more genuine. We spent our evenings talking about her future, exploring her dreams and aspirations. I could see the determination in her eyes, a newfound clarity about where she wanted to go in life. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Emily shared her thoughts about college. She spoke of her interests, the subjects she wanted to study, and the career paths she was considering. I listened with pride, knowing that she was taking charge of her future. Emily had applied for several scholarships, determined to find a way to fund her education. She had become proactive, searching for opportunities and working part-time jobs to save money. Her efforts were commendable, and I felt a sense of pride watching her take responsibility for her life. We talked about her aspirations, discussing the different paths she could take. Emily was interested in education and wanted to make a difference in the world. She spoke of becoming a teacher, inspired by the values she had learned from our family. Her passion was evident, and I encouraged her to pursue her dreams. Together, we explored the options available to her. We researched different colleges, looking at programs that aligned with her interests. Emily was focused and driven, determined to make her dreams a reality. I admired her tenacity and commitment. As we navigated the complexities of college applications and financial aid, I felt a renewed sense of hope for Emily's future. She was becoming a young woman of integrity, someone who valued the lessons she had learned. Our relationship was healing, and I felt grateful for the journey we had shared. Emily's dedication paid off when she received several scholarship offers. Her hard work and determination had not gone unnoticed, and I was overjoyed to see her efforts rewarded. She had secured enough funds to attend college, and I felt a deep sense of pride. With her education plans in place, Emily and I turned our attention to the present. We attended community events together, sharing in the joy and camaraderie of our neighbors. Emily was becoming more involved, eager to contribute and make a difference. At one event, Emily introduced me to her friends and teachers. She spoke proudly of our family's heritage, sharing stories of resilience and strength. Her words were heartfelt, and I could see the respect and admiration in her friends' eyes. I watched with pride as Emily embraced her identity, confident and self-assured. She was no longer the unsure teenager I had worried about. She had grown into a thoughtful and authentic young woman, proud of her roots and eager to make her mark on the world. Our relationship continued to flourish, built on a foundation of respect and understanding. We had learned from each other, growing and healing through the lessons of the past. I felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that our journey had brought us closer together. With Emily's college plans in place, we began to focus on the future. We talked about the changes that would come, the new experiences and challenges she would face. Emily was excited, ready to embrace the opportunities that lay ahead. As her departure for college approached, I felt a mix of emotions. I was proud of the young woman she had become, but I also knew I would miss her presence in the house. Our journey together had been transformative, and I was grateful for the connection we had forged. We spent our remaining days together creating new memories. We cooked family recipes, shared stories, and laughed at shared jokes. I wanted to ensure that Emily carried these moments with her as she embarked on her new journey. On one of our last evenings together, we attended a community event where Emily was recognized for her achievements. She was praised for her dedication and commitment, and I felt a swell of pride as I watched her accept the accolades with grace and humility. After the event, we sat together, reflecting on our journey. Emily expressed her gratitude for the lessons she had learned and the values she would carry with her. Her words were sincere, and I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. As Emily prepared to leave for college, I knew that our relationship had reached a new level of understanding. We had grown together, overcoming challenges and building a bond that would endure. I was proud of the person she had become, and I felt confident that she would continue to thrive. On the day of her departure, I presented Emily with a small family heirloom, a locket that had belonged to my mother. It was a symbol of our family's legacy, a reminder of the values and lessons that had shaped us. Emily accepted it with tears in her eyes, promising to honor the legacy it represented. As we said our goodbyes, I felt a sense of peace. I knew that Emily was ready to embark on her new adventure, equipped with the values and lessons she had learned. I was confident that she would continue to grow and make a difference in the world. As she drove away, I stood on the porch, watching until her car disappeared from view. My heart was full, knowing that we had overcome so much together. Our journey had been one of growth, healing, and transformation. I was proud of the legacy of love and respect we had created, and I felt at peace knowing that it would endure for generations to come. The house felt quiet after Emily left for college. The familiar sounds of her laughter and footsteps were absent, and there was an emptiness that lingered in the rooms. I missed her dearly, but I knew this was a new beginning for both of us. Emily was off to pursue her dreams, armed with the lessons and values she had learned. I felt proud, knowing she was ready to face the world. I spent the first few days adjusting to the change. I found comfort in my daily routines, tending to the garden and visiting the community center. My friends there were a source of support, always ready to lend an ear or share a story. They understood the bittersweet feeling of watching a loved one grow and leave the nest. Emily called often, sharing her experiences and the new friends she was making. Her voice was filled with excitement and wonder as she spoke of her classes and the professors who inspired her. I listened with joy, knowing that she was thriving in her new environment. Her happiness was all I had ever wanted. One evening, as I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, I received a letter from Emily. It was handwritten, filled with her thoughts and reflections. She wrote about the challenges she was facing and the lessons she was learning along the way. Her words were thoughtful and mature, a testament to the growth she had undergone. Emily spoke of the importance of respect and gratitude, values she had come to appreciate more deeply. She thanked me for the sacrifices I had made and the love I had given her. Her words touched my heart, and I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Our journey had been worthwhile, and I was grateful for the bond we had created. In the letter, Emily also shared her plans for the future. She spoke of her desire to become a teacher and make a difference in the lives of others. Her passion for education was evident, and I was proud of her dedication to her dreams. I knew she would succeed, driven by the values she held dear. As the weeks turned into months, Emily and I stayed connected through calls and letters. She often asked for advice, seeking guidance as she navigated the challenges of college life. I was always there to support her, ready to offer words of encouragement and wisdom. Emily's growth was evident in every conversation we had. She was becoming more confident and self-assured, embracing her identity and the lessons she had learned. Our relationship continued to grow, built on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. I felt grateful for the connection we shared, knowing it would endure despite the distance. During one of our conversations, Emily mentioned a project she was working on for her education class. She was researching the impact of family values on a child's development and wanted to include our family story. Her interest in our heritage and the lessons we had learned filled me with pride. I was glad to see her embracing our family's legacy and sharing it with others. As time passed, Emily returned home for holidays and breaks. Each visit was a joyful reunion, filled with laughter and shared memories. We would spend hours talking, catching up on each other's lives and discussing her experiences at college. Her stories were full of excitement and discovery, a testament to the new world she was exploring. On one of her visits, Emily surprised me with a special gift. She had arranged for us to attend a community event where she was speaking about her experiences and the lessons she had learned. Her words were heartfelt, and I felt a swell of pride as I listened to her speak with confidence and sincerity. It was a moment of recognition, not just for her achievements but for the journey we had shared together. As Emily spoke, I reflected on the legacy we had created, a legacy of love, respect, and understanding. It was a gift that would endure for generations, shaping the lives of those who came after us. I felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that our story would continue to inspire and guide others. The years passed, and Emily graduated with honors, ready to embark on a new chapter in her life. She had transformed from a young girl into a thoughtful and authentic young woman, proud of her heritage and eager to make a difference in the world. I was proud of her, knowing she carried our family's values with her. On the day of her graduation, Emily invited me to join her at her university for the ceremony. It was a momentous occasion, and I was filled with emotion as I watched her receive her diploma. Her achievements were a testament to her hard work and dedication, and I felt a deep sense of pride. After the ceremony, we celebrated with family and friends, sharing stories and laughter. Emily spoke of her plans for the future, excited about the opportunities that lay ahead. Her passion for teaching and making a difference was clear, and I knew she would continue to thrive in her chosen path. As the celebration drew to a close, Emily presented me with a special gift, a scrapbook filled with memories of our journey together. It was a collection of photographs, letters, and mementos that captured the essence of our relationship. Her gesture touched my heart, and I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the bond we shared. Reflecting on our journey, I realized that the challenges we had faced had led to profound growth and healing for both of us. We had rewritten our story, creating a family not defined by blood but by choice and resilience. Our journey had been one of love, respect, and understanding, values that would continue to guide us in the years to come. As I looked at Emily, I knew that she was ready to embark on her new adventure, equipped with the lessons and values she had learned. I felt a sense of peace, knowing that our legacy of love and respect would endure for generations. Our story was one of growth and transformation, a testament to the power of family and the enduring bonds that connect us all.